All right, thanks for joining us again for another Target Acquired podcast. My name is Gary. I go by Crossroads on Longshanks and Discord. With us today, we have
Swooper, on Discord and all the socials.
This is Matt. I go by Papa Booey, buy pretty much everything online.
And this is Jeremy. I go by Jerbear, pretty much everything online as well.
All right, so today we got some MCP to talk about, both some past tournaments and some new ones coming up, and then later on a little bit of roster discussion between us. We're going to start with a couple of events that Swooper's gone to, both to our neighbors on the south and the north. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Swooper?
Yeah, I've been going to a lot of tournaments up north at Palladium and the Banish Zone. I think I've been up to 3 up there. They're pretty relatively close to each other, about 2.5-hour drive for me from here though. So they're a great place to go. Had great games all around, no complaints. Everything was great. It's all a good time. And then I also had the tournament at Huzzah recently. And also another great event. Everything went well. I won all of these events, all with Shield. One with Dark Dimension.
I was going to say, you did not win that one with Shield.
I did win that Banished Zone one with Dark Dimension.
Now your shield is a little different than the typical shield that we've been seeing, correct?
I think just very minor differences in who you take as splashes versus, what a lot of other people go with. I'm not a big fan of 4-cost Iron Man. I don't like him. I don't think he serves a purpose. You have to pay for it's more rerolls, but you have to pay for those rerolls. I don't want to pay for rerolls. So I prefer to stick with the 3-cost Iron Man for about everything. And my big splash character is King T'Challa. He's fantastic.
And you've been running mainly Namor leadership?
Pretty much solely Namor leadership. Ever since he came out, we realized that leadership is amazing.
Have you been keeping Nick Fury in your list?
So my core is Namor, Zemo, Nick Fury Jr., and Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 3 cost.
Okay.
That's all. That's my 15 every time. And then everything builds from there. And if I go to 16, used to be switched to 4-cost Iron Man, but now I'm switching to 4-cost Zemo because I still get Strategic Genius.
Oh, okay. Have you been liking running him?
Haven't had it happen once yet.
Oh, okay. That's much.
He's in there for that purpose. It has never come up though. So we'll see. He has a charge just like regular Zemo.
Kind of.
But I think the big problem with him is he doesn't have Master Swordsman. And I think that's really going to hurt. And I think I'm not going to like him in the end.
He's got a long range attack though now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
That one?
but the whole point is to stay in the bubble. I haven't tried him yet, so we'll see.
Let's give him a shot today.
We could.
So with you saying him sticking in the bubble, I'm assuming you're playing more of a nutrition game?
Pretty much. So everybody sticks around. You have Namor and Zemo obviously stick together for your double rerolls. Your leadership gives you a third reroll on defenses. The big benefit is actually the secret sauce is Nick Fury Jr. Because Nick Fury Jr. has the grunts. If the grunts are in the bubble with Nick Fury, you're getting your 4-dice attack with 3 rerolls. Fury's reroll, Zemo's reroll, Namor's reroll. So your grunts are running around with 3 rerolls and 4 dice. You attack twice. Then Fury goes. Every time the grunts do damage, Fury gets a power from that. So then Fury has 3 power. He uses his spender. Lead from the front. He attacks with 7 dice. He gets 2 rerolls from Zemo and from Namor. Then the grunts go again with 3 rerolls. Also giving power again. So if you can get 6 power on Fury throughout this turn, your grunts are attacking 4 times in one activation.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It can put a lot of damage out.
So I can assume what your secures are. What are you running for your extracts?
Legacy Virus, Hammers. I don't remember what the last one is. Let's see. Oh, Montesi. That's what it is. Montesi.
Okay.
Because I like getting the grunts to have Montesi. So instead of 4 dice, I'm doing 6 dice Mystic, and then I can switch. And in reality, if you're doing the beams, you're actually getting more attacks because you're doing 6 dice on everybody in the beam. Then you can play Fury stuff, and you can shoot from there.
Did you say one of yours was hammers?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you finding the hammers go better?
How the grunts are fantastic with a hammer because now it's 5 dice with 3 rerolls. And Namor's always good. Zemo's always good. Anybody in the team can basically pick it up and it's fine.
Yep.
Even with Iron Man, because then I have an extra dice to roll for pushes because I never get them. So
Is there a priority you take if it's because the hammers, the left and right hand side, it's pretty far out there from where you want to be.
if I have first turn my plan usually is Fury and the grunts to take 2 hammers and be up and hammer. So I'll leave my back hammer. Fury and grunts go up to each side, grab a hammer. And then if the grunts die, who gives a shit?
Well, and also, when it drops off of them,
Yeah.
you get to place it.
Right. And I'll usually have like another character over where the grunts are so that if they attack the grunts and it falls back, that other character can then move up, grab that hammer.
Has Toad ever crossed your mind as a good 2 for it?
And I have Black Widow. What would I want Toad for?
I was thinking because of them being able to grab within 2, if there was ever a situation where you had to push something back, you'd be then.
My splashes are King T'Challa, Zemo, and Crimson Dynamo.
Okay.
Dynamo only comes out when needed.
Did the restriction of the tactics cards change?
It didn't do anything to me because all my cards are shield cards.
And then you didn't use researcher.
That's the big difference between me and I think most of the other shield players is I like to play higher points, where it seems like a lot of shield players like to play lower points, and I do. I don't like researcher. They take a bunch of other. I think our extracts and secures are vastly different more than our roster is. But yeah, I had none of the cards changed at all. It's basically the same 5 cards every single game. There's no reason not to take Shield Mobile. There's no reason not to take Battlefield Medicine. Sit Rep comes in every once in a while. If I'm playing Crimson Dynamo, I'll play Sit Rep. And then just your basic other stuff.
Has there been any affiliations that have just kind of driven you crazy, given you problems?
Not affiliations that give me problems. I feel like if I get a certain map, bees can be a problem because they're so spread out. So it means that bubble doesn't work as well. That seems to be my biggest problem. I've played Papa Booey multiple times, I think, on bees. And every time I'm like, I need to figure this out because this is a problem.
I don't like playing them either. It's just 2 of us having a rough time.
But Namor is being able to move long makes such a big deal. And he gets power so easily that I can run out, do something, be a menace, steal an objective, do something, and I could shield mobile for 3 power, and all of a sudden I'm back. So he essentially gets a free action if I use it.
Now, I'm not familiar enough with Shield Mobile. Does that allow you to also travel with an objective on you?
It's just automatic, long movement, 3 power. And it
Active.
doesn't even have to be his activation. So another good thing to do too is so when Fury comes out and I do that where I go to take both hammers, let's say they go after Nick Fury instead of going after the grunts, which is probably a smart move to just take him off the board. He'll take damage. That's fine. Then when my second activation happens, if I have 3 power, I just shield mobile out of there and I'm out. As long as I survive that initial hit, I can dip out and be out of the way. And then I don't have to worry about it.
And that's a shield mobiles in advance, right? So if
Mm-mm.
terrain or something,
Like you have flight.
you have like
Yep. So yep, you just get out of there. Be gone. So you either use a I play all my cards really early. I'm always done with my cards. I never have cards left over. Spend them quick. In like the first 3 turns, all my cards should be gone.
Eye in the Sky is the one that is in advance that terrain can mess you up.
I think so. I haven't played Eye in the Sky in a while now. I don't find a need for it. Fury wants to spend his power on his spender and to bring in the grunts. I don't have 3 power to spend on Eye in the Sky.
Do you feel like you, in some situations, become power hungry with some of the characters?
Not that bad. You would think so, because when you play Fury Junior's leadership, yes, because Fury never has power and it sucks. But when you're playing it under Namor's leadership, you're dishing out so much damage, it's easy to get all your power, no problem. Because those grunts, every time those grunts are doing an attack, as long as they get 1 damage through, Fury's getting a power. Then if the opponent attacks the grunts and they take damage, Fury gets a power. So those are building up, and it only costs 2 to bring in more grunts. As long as you're not saving 3 power for Eye in the Sky, which I'm not, he's usually pretty good. I'm usually getting spenders off left and right. Everybody's too focused on Namor and Zemo. So Fury just runs rampant.
Which is 2 ones to be worried about
Yep,
sometimes.
they are a concern.
I'm more interested to hear about Dark Dimension. How did that go for you?
It went well. They were all super, super close games. I ended up tabling 2 of the games. So it's 3 games. 2 of the games I tabled my opponent, and then the 3rd game I won by 1 point. Let me see what my roster was, because it was pretty ridiculous. So I obviously had Dormammu, took Baron Zemo, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Honey Badger, Luke Cage, Red Skull 3, Mysterio, MODOK, Squirrel Girl, and the Howling Commandos. The only person who didn't make the board, Luke Cage never made it, and Squirrel Girl never made it to the board. but I tried to play every game with something different.
How gross was the game or any of the games running Dormammu and CGR together?
I only ran him once. I ran him in the first game. I was very unimpressed with him. I thought he would do a lot more than he actually does. I felt like I didn't roll well or what, but I don't feel like he did a whole lot. But he did end up winning me the game with that chains to pull people.
Yeah.
Because he tried to run away and I wasn't letting him have it.
Were you using that every turn?
Pretty much.
How many points was that game?
It had to be a high points.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you were running on like a 16 with a 2.
Well, I had Dormammu, I had Cosmic Ghost Rider, I had Honey Badger, so that's 16. And then I had the Howling Commandos, so it had to be a 19 point.
Okay.
So the Howling Commandos were the one common thing besides Dormammu every game. Because first turn, you get an extra power, you Siblings in Arms Dormammu up, and all of a sudden Dormammu's halfway up the board and ready to whoop.
Playing against Thanos and the Black Order for that one.
Yes, but he didn't take any gems, so I wasn't worried. It was a very different. He was playing very thematic, so he took Super Giant, and he regretted that. And that model never saw the board for the rest of the tournament. I think he didn't realize what she actually did, and he just wanted to play the models he had.
So out of everyone you took, was there someone who seemed to synchronize better?
The Howling Commandos were a must because it keeps Dormammu from having to move. And since they're generating 2 power every turn automatically, first thing you do is you move the Howling Commandos within 2 of Dormammu. You Siblings in Arms. It puts Dormammu within 1 of the Howling Commandos. You're in the midline,
Yeah.
ready to destroy.
He's a big base to be bouncing around.
Right. MODOK also did really well, but I think MODOK 1's still viable. And Honey Badger was doing work because everybody wanted to go into Ghost Rider and Dormammu, but I wasn't letting anybody do it because I was like, all right, well, Honey Badger will just take that. Honey Badger will take. She took that 4 attacks for him, so
That's why I should put Black Bolt in.
I thought about it. I did. He's expensive though, but I mean, at the same time, I have MODOK and I have Cosmic Ghost Rider, but I took MODOK for the fact that you couldn't get wilds. So my whole plan was I'm getting skulls and I'm getting your skulls with Dormammu. If you're attacking MODOK, you're not getting wilds. I have Mysterio in there for the same thing where I'm going to get rid of your crits. So you're not getting crits, but I'm getting crits and I'm getting your skulls. So you're going to have a bad day is the plan.
MODOK 1.
Yeah, MODOK 1. I like MODOK 1. I like the Doomsday Chair, really. I think it's a good attack. It's easy to get off because if you get 2 power every turn, it was pretty easy. Like I said, Squirrel Girl didn't make it. I tried to put her in lists. She never makes it. I was going to use her for the same thing. Tippy toe someone. Now you don't get crits, but I'm still getting my skulls and your skulls. And it never came up. And I played the third one. The last match was the toughest one. And it was the one person I didn't want to play. It was Paul Bates and his Web Warriors. Because I was like, crap, I don't want to chase anybody down. Because I'm not going to be able to chase you down at all. I'm so slow. And I looked at his reds and his blues. And for some reason, he has Gamma in his blues.
Yeah, I'm looking at what you ended up running. It was Montesi versus Gamma. And
So he picked his blues, and I even asked him, so what are you doing? What you got Gamma in there for? And he's like, I forgot to take it out. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate because I'm about to pull it.
you can say
Sure. I pull that card, it's Gamma. And I was like, sure, I got stand a chance.
18 threat on Gamma.
And he ran Venom, Carnage, Spider-Woman, and Amazing Spider-Man. And like all my games came down to like one model. So my second game was against Asgard. It was literally Dormammu and Mighty Thor left. That was it. And it just came down to me grabbing a point and scoring 1 more point than he did. And then against Paul, it came down to can Red Skull 3 kill Amazing Spider-Man? Which the answer should be no. But it was definitely yes. I threw a lot of stuff at him and I just nuked him. And he ate it.
Sometimes it just works.
Yep. Sometimes the fates were with me and my Dark Lord.
Would you say the best part of that was on the ride home stopping at Ninja Ramen?
Yes, that's the reason I go to all those tournaments.
Ninja Ramen in York, PA, if you're looking for a sponsorship.
Yeah, you ain't getting. That's every time. That's my on the way home. If I win or lose, I stop there every single time. It's like the only restaurant I'll go in and eat by myself.
All right. So that was a couple past tournaments. Let's move on to a present. The Last Chance qualifier, November 16th at Tables and Towers. At the table, I am the only one that's going to be playing in that because,
Why is that?
because I wanted to give other people a chance, like the Papa Booies and the Jer Bear.
The little guys.
So
He is a gracious God.
yeah.
Aw.
So Papa Booey, Jer Bear already in the top 7, so they're automatically in the championships. Swooper has been running all of our tournaments, and he's going to continue running the Last Chance and the championships. So I'm the only one that's going to be playing in the Last Chance qualifier, hoping to squeeze my way into the championship. I've been playing Cabal lately, and honestly, I was having a lot more fun playing my criminals. And with the new criminal models coming out, I feel like it gives me a great opportunity to jump back in. So I am switching back to criminals. Whether that's the right decision or the wrong decision, I will know on November 17th.
Are you taking Wrecking Crew?
I am going to put Wrecking Crew in. I'm also putting Loki in.
What about Mephisto
When does Mephisto come out?
next week? This
Yeah.
coming up week.
Yeah.
It should be Mephisto, Abomination, and Wrecking Crew come out Friday.
Well, yeah, let's just cram them all in, see what happens. It's going to be an entirely different list because I also want to try to fit in a couple of the Spider Foes, possibly giving Sandman another chance. We'll see how that.
I think he's a good addition if you're practiced with him. I think the grunts being able to just push off of like, whoop, gotcha. No, I don't need a trigger. I just got to do it. I think it's do it damage.
Yeah.
Just do it damage and push people away. The problem is if anybody knows any better, they go after Sandman. But if you can figure out a way to keep him out of harm's way,
Yeah.
I think he could be really good control piece, especially like on Researcher or something. Gamma is another good one.
He definitely has some tricks. The problem is, like you said, keeping him alive.
Yeah,
Because
and
anyone that knows just kills him.
spending the health too to bring in the grunts is also extremely rough.
Yeah, it's he spends the health to bring in the grunts, but he does have healing factor 1, so he gets one of it back. But it's
Just get
still,
rid of the fucking healing factor and just make it cost 1 to put it out.
Yeah.
It seems silly.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to give him a run. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to playing Wrecking Crew. I enjoy some wrestling and their moves. I just want to be ridiculous with them. And Loki is just so it's hard to not want to put him in everything. Now, what leadership do I run them all with? I want to instantly say Kingpin, but I feel like there might be some argument for MODOK in there. Claw has a lot of potential, but he is very selfish.
That's what makes him so much fun is nobody's going to expect it. And if you take Claw with Sandman, even ignoring the leadership thing with Sandman's grunts, you're pushing with Sandman's grunts plus Claw's sound barrier, you're going to be controlling the crap out of a board, and no one's going to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Because it's at the end of their activation. It's not like they move to you and they're done. You're done your turn? All right, see ya. And you just push them away.
Yeah, I like MODOK's leadership, especially on the defense side, because every time you roll a wild, you can change one to a shield. But it's going to require a little bit more play testing. I enjoy myself a lot more with criminals. I think Cabal is fun, and I do love Thanos, but it really comes down to like you're rolling a fistful of dice. If you roll well, you win. If you roll bad, you lose, and that's the end of it. Like there's not too much other than that. A lot of my games when I played at Nova, it was like coming down to the last die roll. And it was like, oh, I spiked, I won the game, yay. But it doesn't leave the opponent feeling well. It leaves me feeling like, oh, great, I won because I rolled a great dice roll. So criminals, I always felt like it was a little more of maneuvering, a little more of positioning. And the games I feel felt a little closer and a little favorable for everyone. So hopefully last chance qualifier. We got 17 signed up at this time. So if I can pull that out, that'd be great. And then I can join everybody else in the championship. We're holding that December 14th. It'll be at Gritty Goblin in Columbia. Baba Booey, what are you playing in the championship?
Played Inhumans all season. Going to finish out the season with Inhumans, and then switch to something new for next season. I played pretty much the same list entirely, other than the force changes from the Team Tactics Guards update the whole season. This time I am going to be making some substitutions. For instance, a big one is I've never played Beast in my Inhumans, and the last couple of weeks I've been putting him in just to see how I like him. And I have been loving using him in the Inhumans. So I'm going to get a few more games in with that. I got excited when Super brought up Honey Badger doing well for him, because I used to run Honey Badger a lot. And I've been wanting to put her back in because with Inhumans, I can turn one Jonathan the Unstoppable.
That is the exact reason she was in Dark Dimension, was for first turn, I could Jonathan and then get away from the back point.
Yeah, so like with that, I can just grab that point and flee. But other than that, I've been playing around with Bishop just because I like to punch. So he's a good one to kind of like roll around the board with Black Bolt, because then I've got 2 range 4 energy attacks shooting in. If Bishop goes up a little closer, I can incinerate the target, and then Black Bolt just obliterates anybody that's incinerated.
Who did you drop for Beast and Bishop?
So I had like 4 dead characters in my roster. Hawkeye, I can't really call him a dead character, but I had Quicksilver, mostly just for like if I ran hammers, but then I realized I didn't like using him in hammers. So I dropped him. I can't even remember who I had. I had Winter Soldier for the longest time, again, for kind of a hammers play, but he never hit the table as well. So I just swapped them out. I've been playing around with those 3 slots, really. Because my main core is going to be Black Bolt, Medusa, Lockjaw, obviously. And then Ronan hits the table for me in 50% of my games. No power gem. I think throwing the power gem on him just hurts him being a 5.
I don't think you need to.
He's a waste of a 5. He gets enough power just from taking damage. Everybody focuses on him. And then he's just throwing out judgments everywhere. No one's ready for judgment because,
New characters.
Exactly. And then they just make bad plays. When they have judgment on somebody, they'll throw them up. Oh, I'm going to take damage, and so I'll be able to clap back. And no, you're not.
Is this still only 2?
Yeah.
Just Scarlet and Ronan?
Yeah. Yep. And then, of course, the Hulk's in there. I mean, like, if I get to 15, the Hulk's going down on the board, and I'm throwing people everywhere. But I'm excited for it. I think throwing Beast in there and getting that cheap size 2 throw.
Yeah, that's what makes him, I think.
Yeah, there can be a lot of turns where I just see him double moving and throwing someone back, even if it's just to throw him back towards my line. And then I've got Hulk and Black Bolt and Ulik just beating up on people.
Right. Let somebody throw a Zemo up and go for like the middle or something. Like, all right, I'm just going to throw him backwards. Now he's got no one around him.
That happens all the time. The Zemos are definitely my favorite ones to grab and throw. He's good, but you get one good shot into him.
Yeah, especially before he can generate like enough power to master swordsman every time.
Yeah. And I've got a good amount of like powerful energy attacks, and so then he just goes down.
So here we go for a quiz. We're going to give a quiz every time now.
Okay.
So we're talking about judgment. How many characters in the game have immunity to judgment?
That would be 0, Bob.
No, there's got to be at least one who wouldn't ask the stupid question.
No, it is 0. No one is immune to judgment.
I've never seen it on the card. I know characters that should be immune. Well, okay, technically Apocalypse is, when he flips, he's immune to everything.
Is that the kit, or is that the ultimate?
No, the regular one. When he flips, he's immune to all special conditions.
Interesting.
So my answer was going to be 1.
The answer is 1.
Is it Apocalypse?
Yeah. Okay.
So with not knowing what Apocalypse does, then yes. Okay.
Yep. The answer is 1.
Yeah, he starts with like a massive amount of immunities on his front side. And then when he flips, it's supposed to be like he's evolving. And it says all special conditions. So it even future proofs. So instead of writing them all out, if we add a new special condition, he's automatically immune to said special.
Ooh, a new special condition. That hasn't come up, since Judgment, right? I guess Judgment was the last, because that wasn't in the base game.
Yeah, I think Judgment is the...
Did Groot come out first before Judgment?
Yeah, because Groot was an early model.
Was Groot before Scarlet?
I don't think so. Yeah, because Scarlet wasn't until, I think, like when the mutant's starting to come out. And that
Year 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a feeling they might just get rid of Judgment altogether. I think it's going to go away.
I don't think so. Why would you get rid of it?
I think
that's coming from a place of Immortal Hulk.
No, and honestly, I mean, Grant, when we get to what I've been playing, I really haven't taken him as much as what I should, probably to my own, fault. But yeah, I don't know. It's odd that they've only done it on 2 characters.
Because
It's very, but it was very early characters and nothing since then with it.
Yeah, but then so Root was the same way, where Groot was basically the only person who handed out Root forever. Now all of a sudden, there's a lot of characters popping up. So like Apocalypse hands out Root, New Loki hands out Root.
Professor
X hands out Root. These are all newer characters for handing out Root.
Silver Sable.
So, yeah, well, that's a weird one too. But like, I could see Judgment. The fact that Ghost Rider doesn't hand out Judgment, I think, is the biggest mistake ever.
Yes, I agree.
Makes no sense. It's literally what he does. So I wouldn't be surprised if in future, if we get like Danny Ketch Ghost Rider or Robbie Ghost Rider, we're gonna get more characters that hand out Judgment. It just hasn't come up.
Do you think maybe there would be a situation where they go back and change some of the characters to give it out? Because I'm assuming we're coming up close to an update for
I don't know if Ghost Rider gets updated. He already got updated. If we're wasting our time updating a character who already got updated when there's other characters out there who really need it, Sentinels,
those poor guys.
Seen him win some games.
They did win that game last week.
They beat me.
But there's a lot of other characters out there that really need to look at over, trying to fix Ghost Rider, who doesn't need to be fixed. He's good.
Oh,
so
he's great.
He had Judgment on top of all the shenanigans he already has. Like, imagine giving Cosmic Ghost Rider Judgment on top of all of his shenanigans. We're going to be going backwards.
Yeah, I think the trade out for like being thematic that he judges is the critical, where he deals 1 damage for crits,
Yes.
like for crit, or even you dealing damage to allies, he gets power, right?
Yes.
Like I feel like that's the influence of him judging people.
I wonder if he came out before it was a thing. Maybe it wasn't in the design when he came out.
Yeah, but even the update was after.
Right. But I still don't think you add it to him.
I don't think he needs it.
Yeah. But I can't really think of any other character to give it to. Who else is in reality? Like, it's a weird condition because Scarlet's not really judging anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing. Ronan, I get, but like Scarlet Witch is an odd one to have that.
Should be almost like a curse of some sort.
Yeah, like Hex, it makes way more sense coming out of her than Judgment does. Where Ghost Rider should have Judgment. I know, honestly, Punisher should have Judgment.
That would be.
I think that would make him awesome.
Yeah.
Punisher should just have something that makes him playable.
That's true. He has that sweet red dead card of his.
The update was not a very good update for him.
He didn't get an update.
Didn't
Well, I thought he went on to Defenders. That's what.
Yeah, that's got a
Yeah.
affiliation.
Well,
Which
Yeah.
did not fit.
Do I really want him to be within 2 of people? No.
no, but now you can use Cover Me with him, can't you?
You can.
You know what, though? Do the Defenders cards make him playable? I haven't even thought about that.
There you go.
What-
Finals?
what
Throw
is,
Punisher in there, see what happens.
What's Streetwise do? Streetwise, you can't
So-
be pushed.
You cannot be pushed, thrown, or advanced,
That doesn't help him.
but you have to take a damage to have that be nullified.
Yeah, that doesn't help him.
Now the Cover Me is good, but he has to get 4 power on him for the Cover Me to work. And then
He has Rapid Fire.
so yeah, Cover Me costs 4. So the person who's playing the card, the character playing the card, has to spend 4.
You don't. No. He's one of the ones that retaliates. You don't put Cover Me on him.
Oh, well, what I'm saying then is there's no point in taking him in like a Daredevil Defenders because the only benefit he's going to get is from being within 2 of people. He doesn't want to be within 2 of people. I don't want him up there fighting against people.
He does because his gun, for some reason, is range 3, which I think is his biggest problem. If his rapid fire gun was range 4, which at the same time, I think it could skyrocket him and make him too good, but I think his machine gun needs to be range 4. Where like people's pistols are range 4, but for some reason his, long rifle's not.
And I mean, I have no problem in a change to rapid fire for him where you have to get, like how they did with Winter Soldier, you have to get a wild, you have to get something to make the rapid fire go off, but you have to make the attack with the rapid fire better. It has to be something that's worth doing.
I like the idea of him. So he basically has an automatic weapon. So he's guaranteed the rapid fire. I think that's really cool. I don't think making it range 4 is going to all of a sudden make him like busted, but I think it's going to make him playable where you're like, this is pretty good, because Winter Soldier's hit, he was very good before, but changing his, thing from a hit to a wild, you don't see him anymore at all, basically.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Because he used to be everywhere. And he was rogue agent, so he was even better being everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. I like him. I like the model. I like the idea of him. I almost wish we would get a Punisher 2 and just get like a better version. I don't really know what to do with him to make him any different. Unless we make Frankencastle.
So I think one thing for Punisher that would give him maybe a little bit more playability is the Fallen, which is the one where he gets tokens from allies being dazed or KO'd.
Mhm.
It only works if it's an enemy effect. So having people like Elektra in your defenders list, being able to get rid of the ninjas, being able to add on to his. So effects that you yourself are going to do should count.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Because most of the others are like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense for the purposes of why he's getting the token. He's getting the token because he's vengeance. And he's going to punish the person that did it. But if it's your own teammate that kills your character, it's different.
Yeah.
And in reality, like the Elektra, even though you're removing the ninjas from the board, you're not killing the ninjas. Because then you also don't want to get tokens because someone took damage from cubes or another scenario that does damage. You're like, well, I got a token for that.
Maybe get rid of the action part of the Warzone where it's like the booby traps where he blows up a vehicle.
Sandman moves away from his grunts, kills 2 of his grunts. Punisher gets 2 tokens.
I mean, when are you taking Punisher and Sandman together?
I mean, I think it'd be even better though if you did get it from Elektra's ninjas, because you could kill those ninjas so often
Yeah.
that you're going to get more tokens out of your ninjas than you are your own characters or the enemy's characters half the time. Even like Hydra grunts, you can do it yourself and kill your Hydra grunts all the time. That's easy. But that makes sense why it isn't a thing.
Do you think maybe giving him something with like a reroll, like similar to Zemos, where if someone's within one of them or something?
I think the character's smart enough in comic books and stuff where strategic genius would make sense to like a degree, or even like you'd have to pay for it. Like I think Warzone's a cool idea. I hate that it costs an action, but I can see why it costs an action, because if it didn't, probably be busted.
His would be cool, kind of like a reverse strategic genius, where it's like if no enemies are within 2 of him.
If he laid down like a covering fire and it's like Crimson Dynamos where you reroll the enemy's attack dice. I like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I just wish you didn't have to like discard the punishment tokens to get the rerolls. Like,
You want one to be permanent,
I wish it was like Killmonger's. Killmonger gets it every time he kills one.
but he has to kill the character. So that with his it's different because any do that stuff.
Yeah.
So what is Jerbear's list looking like these days for going into the finals?
So it's gonna be a toss up. I've been running defenders, pretty much this whole circuit. Surprisingly enough, the leader I've been doing has been Doctor Strange more than Daredevil. Daredevil comes along for the ride every now and then, but I find Doctor Strange's leadership seems to work out better for me, and not being worried about, hey, if they have really good, physical and energy defenses, but not mystic. Sure, I'll make all my attacks mystic for 1. Plus it gives hex afterwards if I do damage. So there's a lot of benefit to it. Daredevil's is nice with the rerolls. Playing attrition is kind of my thing, and being able to, guarantee I'm probably going to be within 2 of a lot of people all the time. It can stack up, but I don't know, there's just something about Doctor Strange where it just seems to work out a little bit better in the long run.
Are you using the healing off of him often?
A lot.
That's a big one.
Couple tricks I found with him, and again, it's going to depend on who you're going up against. One thing that happened with me and Crossroads one time was the booby traps when he was playing Spider Foes, and he planted it. I think we were playing a D-shaped crisis, and he put it right on my starting point. Well, I took Strange and went up to the point, just took the damage I needed to take, had enough power to heal myself, and I pretty much just took all the damage off of me that I had accumulated.
Not bad.
And so it was a good, easy way to get rid of that scary booby trap. But I mean, and my go-to has always been Immortal. Everyone will, say that, and it's a running joke with it, but it's fine. He's good. I don't know why more people don't take him that do run defenders. It's just very odd to me. Even in like Midnight Suns, I don't see him taken. And I know he's a 7 cost, but I think he's very good at what he does. And yeah, he hits hard, but granted, I am doing a lot of wilds on my dice rolls. I am pretty easily getting the wild triggers, but being able to throw as many times as he can really can control a middle zone of a board. And the only downside is his throw is 1 more point cost than the normal Hulk. So there is sometimes when you want to save that power for your big attack versus getting a throw out of it. But
would you say when you play with him, more or less times are you getting like down the middle? Do you ever have to, like, have you been taking him in games where you're forced to go wide with your objectives? Like, let's say, like, what, Serum?
No, I've never taken him on wide objectives. It's always been pretty much down the middle.
Gotcha.
He can move, but just not enough, especially if someone can push size 4s or throw size 4s away. People have a habit of just get out of here, I'll deal with you later, or force you to waste all your actions to get back to where you want to be.
Oh,
What a shock, right? I'm trying to find ways around that, especially with street smarts. That helps out a lot because he is a defender.
mhm.
So being able to go, okay, I'm going to lock him down now on a point, and especially central points, you're not going to get him off now. And sure, you might do 1 damage here or there to him, but he can take it. But the one turning point I think for him is just everyone kind of knows his shtick now. So people are either going to go hard into him or they're just going to leave him alone. If they leave him alone, they're usually just running around him. And I'm just playing catch up a lot. If they go into him, for some reason, there's a lot of times people are just like roll 5 dice, get 6, 7 successes. And so they can whittle him down really quickly.
Do you run Warpath?
So no, because I didn't have it for the tournaments. And I think it was just the Titan tournament where it had become unrestricted. It might be something I end up.
Oh, that's right. They removed it in that
Yes,
last
it got
change.
removed and it got added back in. But if it got added back in, I think Warpath is a solid. Like if you're concerned about
Yeah.
him getting controlled, I'm assuming you're taking the Dominable.
No, actually, I've been taking Brace for most. So my restriction cards that I've been taking most of the time has been Brace for Impact and Patch Up. Patch Up has been a must if I'm taking him, just because being able to take the immortality token off of him turn 1 when he gets back and around
Mhm.
has been essential. And it kind of makes everyone's efforts to get him down, if they're really hard focusing him, you've just wasted all that effort. And it's given me a chance to do other things with other characters. I can throw him up there, let him die, comes back, and then turn 1 just back up to 15 with another 15 to go after that. In total, 45 health is really nice.
Yeah.
So it can be scary. There are things that are coming out now, though, to kind of stop that. You have Namor, especially, can stop the healing processes. Because I believe,
How's he stopping healing?
no, I guess it would be at the end of the whole round. So I guess he wouldn't be. Yeah.
He just makes it so damage can't be prevented. Your healing won't be affected by
Yeah.
him.
So
Safe from him.
yeah, I don't really think there's anyone that's really doing anything to stop him from coming back.
Maverick is the only one that can stop you from heal, but it doesn't work on Immortal Hulk's thing because it's in a different area.
It's in a different phase.
Different phase
Yeah.
of it all. So, yeah, I mean, so kind of
Where
sacrifice.
are you getting 45 health from?
So you have 15 to start.
Okay.
Okay, so then you come back, you do Patch Up,
Okay.
you give yourself another 15.
Okay.
He dies, he comes back. He's going to come. So then it would be what, 40 health.
Well, yeah, you're taking the extreme.
I get it. Essentially, like if he healed back up 3 times, yeah.
Well, I think
Perfect scenario.
I think that's like the extreme thought process, though.
Think.
You're thinking like best case scenario.
So best case scenario, yes, it's that.
Because in best case scenario, I'd be like, well, I got 60 health because I fucking healed myself all the way up.
Worst case scenario, he's still at like 25.
I mean, I that's a better
You know?
number.
To be fair, like best case scenario is he has like 10 health and he just doesn't die once.
He is a very essential piece of the puzzle, but I don't think he's needed every single time. And I've started to get out of the habit of taking him every time to try to deal with different situations, because he's not good for every situation. But I have started to look at what's coming out in the future.
Hold on, I got one more question. You said you take Patch Up and Brace as your restricted.
My 2 restricteds, yeah.
Did that change anything with Researcher now being restricted?
Not necessarily. If Researcher came out, I think I ended up putting Montesian, filled a spot, and it kept it down the middle. It's just not the kind of middle I want. 18 points isn't bad. I can still make 18 points work for most of my roster. Having Namor in there, having a lot of the martial artists. If I don't take Hulk, I can take most of the martial artists, and it can still get pretty tanky. And I've been trying to see how I can take Daredevil, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, and who was the last one I had?
Long.
Wong. Yeah, I wish Wong had blanks for successes. That'd be great. He should. I don't know why he doesn't, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good options for staying tanky, staying down the middle without taking Hulk.
How's Shang-Chi been working for you?
It's hit and miss. There's so many things he wants to do, and you have to be able to get all the triggers to do it. It is one of these things where when he works well. I haven't really taken any of his cards. They're good cards, don't get me wrong. When I'm looking at everything else I have to take for defenders, most of the time my defenders cards are going to be the wards so that I can prevent someone from capturing a point. It's going to end up being the street smarts. I've been taking Cover Me, but I haven't really been using it a lot, so that might come out. And then it's been the 2 restricteds.
I think you just need to be more aggressive with the Cover Me.
You don't take portals?
Oh, I have been taking portals every now and then. That's actually saved me quite a few times. And
It's a tough call. So, like, you want to take those cards that are good for characters. Like, I take Namor, but I don't take Princess Protection because I have no room for it.
Yeah.
There's too many other cards that weigh out some of those other ones.
I know when Shang-Chi got spoiled, I thought he was going to be everywhere. And I've not been seeing him.
He's in a lot of places.
I feel like I don't ever see him.
Now, if I want to get real nasty with the 15 points, and I'm not worried about affiliation, definitely my go-to has been taking Immortal Hulk, Wong, and ended up taking Thor, Prince of Midgard with them. And that is my 15 that I've started to run. I can still take Defender's cards because of having Wong and Immortal. I just don't see the point in it a lot because Wong typically isn't going to want to be affected by the street smarts because I don't want him to take a lot of damage.
But you can take portals.
But yes, portals has been one, and I've been, flinging Thor and Immortal through it, and it's been great. I believe, and I will double check, but I believe I can still take objective tokens through the portal with me.
Yeah, I don't think there's any restrictions on yours. That's just intrusions that has the restriction of you have to drop the item. And like Asteroid, you can't have an item.
Yeah, Mothership.
What about Rainbow Bridge?
Yes, you have to drop it. So portal,
You have to drop it or you just can't? Because Asteroid M, you don't drop it, you can't do it.
yeah, if you're holding an objective, you can't teleport. But I don't think Rainbow Bridge is that way. I think Rainbow Bridge you actually drop everything.
Is it?
I will.
I know Loki's he drops.
Yeah, I thought Rainbow Bridge was just you move 3. You pay 3, you move 3.
The other one too, I think, is Ulix. He drops his.
Ulix drops, Electro drops.
Asgard characters that are not holding objective tokens may spend 3 to play the cards.
So you can't even play it if you have an objective.
That's how
Asteroid M.
Asteroid M and Mothership are.
So yeah, so the portals with Wong does really well. Now, granted, both players can use it, but if you're using it to come over to Immortal Hulk, fine by me. Go ahead. But yeah, I mean, there's been options, and again, that's been kind of my go-to. Now, with monsters starting to come out, I've been starting to veer a little bit over to that. I like them. I'm trying to find a nice roster to do with them that can kind of still stay attrition, but also hold out a little bit better than what defenders can as far as being a little bit tankier through healing. And if we wanted to talk about monsters, we can kind of start going down that route.
Well, they did just come out this week. So we just got Werewolf by Night, Frankenstein's Monster, The Living Mummy, and Dracula.
We did an official ruling on that Dracula leadership card.
It's not even a ruling. It's just the card.
The card's different.
Different.
It's actually worded properly now.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
and it's the way I thought it was going to work. So I'm glad because it seemed stupid the other way. It didn't make any sense to me why Dracula would heal off of his thralls essentially being vampires and drinking blood when they are the ones who should heal. So I like the way it's worded now. It makes way more sense. I like the idea. I think you staple Blade in there now. Every
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
It's Dracula, Blade, first 2 core models every time
Yeah.
now.
Blade was out when we were thinking it was worded the other way. I probably will just bring him back in.
I wonder if he pulls the same thing like Nick Fury Jr. does, where before, when you played Midnight Suns Blade, you had to keep Blade back. So in reality,
Yeah.
Blade seemed like a 4-point tax to keep the Midnight Sun hop. But now you don't have to worry about the hop. So
Let him go.
if you let Blade go, does Blade become really good? Does he do work?
I think he does. And one really essential good thing on him is he can just shake conditions for the cost of 1 unlimited times during the turn. Yeah, stack up a bunch of conditions on him as long as I got the power to shake it all. I mean, even stagger, he doesn't even have to worry about stagger. So you get him out there kind of towards the front line, get a bunch of bleeds on everybody. He heals up, gets power from it. And then he also has a defensive, I believe, reroll, including skulls. I will double check.
Physical only, right? Or is it energy as well?
Physical.
Physical and mystic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And his energy defense is 3. So it's not like you're hurting for defensive rolls, even with energy. He's 4/3/4, but I do like that the healing and the power gain from people that are bleeding around you did not require you to get to be damaged. So even if you don't have any damage on you, you can still get the power from the people bleeding.
What's the range on that bubble? Is it 2?
For him, it's 2. For Dracula, it's 3. So
And he wants to be within 2 anyway,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah,
I mean,
for
you're
most of
playing
the stuff.
a 5 dice mystic attack with Pierce. It's pretty solid.
Also, even though you're losing out on the bump if you're going within the Dracula affiliation, he has that pursuit off of his
Rolling glaives.
Yeah, glaives. And so that works out. Like, you have the chance of potentially getting a little bit of a bump out of him to get in place when you need to.
It's also a gainer too. So if you just need that 1 power, all you got to do is throwing glaives, got my power that I need to do whatever I wanted to do. Bam, got it.
Yep. And a lot of times when I was taking him, when I was playing Midnight Suns, you would have to try to get yourself situated where your first attack was going to be your katana to get the bleed on somebody. And then you could go into your big spender. The big spender allows you to re-roll if they're bleeding. So now having him in Dracula's affiliation, I can just pay 1, you had the bleed. Now I can go immediately into my spender. And if you KO, then I can run away or move or do something else. I'm not reliant on that first hit going in with a 5 dice to get to the better hit.
Now the leadership, it's pay 1, range 2, apply bleed, or
Range 2. Yep. You apply bleed the first time around. If the character already has bleed, when you target them, the character whose activation or who's doing it will get the health now. So I've started to look at potentially mixing in people that have healing factors, who have other ways of already healing, to just stack it up. And so, yeah, I might be a 6 health character that has taken 4 health from the last turn, but all of a sudden I have like a healing factor 2 plus like a healing from Dracula. I've also looked at potentially mixing in Extremis consoles to also then get an additional healing out of it. You can stay pretty tanky.
And now because that's a tactics card leadership, you can take anybody in that affiliation, right?
Correct.
As long as you have Dracula on that card.
So what I have been dabbling with, and there's a lot of playtesting that has to be done, I think really the best way I have found to play him is to do a roster full of people who have clapback. You want to be scared to attack anybody on my team. I'm taking people like Venom. I have people like a Werewolf in there as well. Thor, Midgard is in there. Just anyone who you have to really think about who you want to hit, because there is an attack coming back of some sort. Took Zemo. Zemo gives bleeds, but he also has that counterattack that you roll 4 dice and, you might do some guaranteed damage to somebody. Taskmaster, I put him in there as well for the same reason. His is a little bit better, just because if you get hit twice from a character, it's up to 6 dice. So it's a 2 calls, very close to Thor's clapback. And then with tactics cards, I made sure to take Venom's bodyguard style tactics card.
Lethal Protector.
Yep. And then I ended up taking Sacrifice as well. I really did think about taking Luke Cage in for just being a little bit on the tankier side, but also heroes for hire. So now I have choices of who's going to take the hit, but I'm working on the roster. And I think it's really doing well, and it might potentially be something that I take for the finals tournament.
Every time I've played against you with it, it's a fun list. It's different.
Yeah, it's really different.
And it's neat with Dracula's different types of movements that he has available. He's just He's very flexible in what he can do on his turn.
Yeah, so the big things I like with Dracula is obviously he has the healing from people bleeding with the power gain from it. But the role that he plays with, even if he gets conditions on himself, he can spend 1 with a move action to be able to heal 2 and remove all conditions off of himself. There's also the ability that if he decides he needs to get somewhere quick, he can spend 1 in a move action to be able to move long instead of moving medium. And then the last one, I believe, was the ability to gain flight when he moves, which I haven't really had to use that one because he's size 3. So most things I'm moving over, I'm already going to be able to move over with no problems. I haven't had to try to go over top of any kind of buildings or any larger terrain pieces yet with him.
I did not know he's size 3.
He is size 3, and it's really good.
That's weird.
He's a big boy.
So, spending 1 to be able to move long on a medium base is nice. And it gets me to places that I need to be, even potentially within turn 1 of round 1. I've really debated taking Wong just to give him that 1 extra power at the beginning of round 1 to get somewhere using his long movement. I just don't know where Wong fits in with the roster because I've been taking a Bullseye, and Bullseye giving out bleeds or just cleaning up when he needs to, and guaranteeing 2 damage on someone's really nice. But no, I mean, he's a solid, Dracula's solid. I'm going to enjoy seeing what people do with him and who people think about taking with him. I did think instead of doing the clapback way and having a lot of counterattacks, potentially getting people that benefit from bleed being on characters. I know Drax was one of them. Drax gets rerolls if someone he's attacking has bleed. He looks to fit really well with it. I think there's 1 or 2 other characters out there that get benefits from bleed.
Hela gets benefits from somebody having bleed on them. Her attack, I think, does the same thing where it gets rerolls. It's like her spender, but the opponent has to be bleeding. Because I had her for a little while, but it never came up for me because I didn't really have anybody that handed out bleed. Let's see now.
She gets her captured souls when anybody's dazed or KO'd, right? Friend or foe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
She could
So
be.
hers is actually really good. Hers is a lot better than I thought. So her Reign of Hell is if the target has bleed special condition, it does not count wilds in its successes for defending.
That's a
That's
good
pretty
one.
good. And then it's also explosive on a wild. So before damage is dealt, other enemy characters within 2 of the target suffer 1. It only costs 3, but she generates 2 a turn.
Yeah, she's another one that might see the board a little bit and see if maybe it works out.
I think Venomized is a card you should probably take a look at too.
So I thought about that. One person that I looked at would be Red Skull 2, just because one of his abilities is he can take a damage to gain 2 power. And if I'm already going to be taking a damage to gain 2 power, by the time I'm done doing my bigger attacks, I can end up gaining that power back, and I can just heal off of it if they have bleed on them. So he has a way of kind of continuously doing that without really being affected by it. And then also if I put Venomize on him, the 3 extra dice that he's going to get in energy doesn't get affected by it.
I was almost thinking you just Venomize like a healing factor character or even Dracula himself.
So Dracula doesn't need it. He already has an attack that allows him to heal. It's range 2. It's not range 3, unfortunately, but it still works. And his clapback is really nice because he gets to choose any of his 3 attacks to use instead of it just being the basic attack.
'Cause I was looking at like Weapon X. I was thinking Weapon X would have been a good one, but he doesn't give out bleed. A Wolverine character that doesn't give out bleed.
It's kind of odd.
It's weird.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird because I thought he would have been a really good option for that. That's why I was over here looking up, and then I was like, oh, he has Pierce, but not
Yeah.
bleed on anything.
Yeah. So another route I had thought about was taking X-23 and
I love 23.
the original Wolverine. Both of them would benefit from the card that they share, which would make them a little bit more deadlier, and they would both have a good healing factor involved with it.
X-23 is also in my shield list. I forgot about her.
Yeah, I mean, she's overall she should be in a lot of people's lists.
The inherent reroll, the frenzy on top of the spender, and you can choose which way to move and everything. Like, it's an amazing ability. She's so good for a 3 cost.
And it's funny because at least in the areas we play, I don't see as much mystic attacks coming from people than I do energy and physical. At least from the people I've played.
He is overall the weakest defense when it comes down to it.
Now, you'll like this one. Another one I thought with the healing factor situations or just being able to heal for themselves, I thought about dipping Claw into it because he does have that ability to be able to take 2 damage off of himself as a superpower. And so in one turn, having 3 damage taken off of Claw every turn would be nice. Keep him a little tanky. And then also you can move people when they try to come in towards him.
You could put in Apocalypse.
Okay, so I've thought about it. I really
When
did.
you said it, now I'm thinking about it. It's like, you know what?
I really did. The point value is kind of where it gets rough because he does good stuff, but I don't think he does enough damage.
I disagree.
What about like Craven?
Craven, all right, so the original, when Dracula was being play tested and I was messing around with some of like the stack bleeds on everybody, Craven was in there. He has a bleed on his basic attack. I did enjoy that he gave out that map wide, pick a character, everyone that attacks that character gets 1 extra dice to attack them. It did come in handy when Dracula needed to really get off his healing clapback. But Craven, it's hard to get him into the position for his other stuff to work. Because you want to start out with his range 2 attack. For his range 3 attack, then to have more dice. And it's almost like it should be reversed.
Well, I think it's the way it is for a reason, because then he hits way too hard. But I think he needs like a bump or some kind of like scalpel or whatever to make him really good. Because like before, you didn't see Craven anywhere. Now he's great because you can surprise Webhead, and all of a sudden, that makes sense. Now your Kukri and your Spear is actually working together.
With a Panther Basset coming out and having that pounce, being able to jump and move that way, I think something like that for Craven would really help him and give him a little bit more movement to be able to get in place for his other attacks to go off. He's good. It's unfortunate. I don't know how to get him to work properly without just sitting back and just every turn using that ability to put the marker on somebody.
I think you should try Apocalypse. I'm looking at him right now. You will be remade through me if they already have bleed, which they're most likely going to have. It allows you for 1 power to give them shock, slow, or incinerate. So they're going to have bleed. You're going to put multiple instances of bleed out there. So it makes those characters where you have that redundancy already put in. So it's like, oh, all my characters hand out bleed. Well, you can only be bled once. So eventually those wilds that are handing out bleed are completely useless for their, trigger effects. Apocalypse removed that problem.
I mean, he does have the ability to heal himself through conditions that he's immune to.
That's the thing. You're healing yourself through conditions, plus you're healing yourself when you take damage, plus you're healing yourself through Dracula's leadership. I think he is a contender.
If you're afraid of him not dealing damage, I mean, his spender, you add 2 dice to the attack roll for each special condition the target has. That bleed's a gimme. So he's rolling 10 dice energy on his 3 cost builder or spender. That's a lot.
He's also picking his type for his regular attack. So he's picking whatever you wanted. Energy, mystic, physical. He's like, hey, what's your weakest? I got it. He's handing out other conditions. And then you're taking those people that already have bleed and you're putting incinerate on them. So you're essentially decreasing their defense dice, meaning his attack dice are even better. I think he is a solid contender because he's also going to keep attention. So when you're playing against somebody, they're going to pay attention to one or the other. There's no way they're going to spread their attention between Apocalypse and Dracula.
Yeah.
So one of them is going to be a fucking menace on the board. The other one is going to take the beating, but it doesn't matter which one's taking the beating because Apocalypse can take that beating. Dracula can take that beating. Let it happen. So you're sitting at what? Dracula's 5, Apocalypse is 6. So you're sitting at 11 points.
Yeah, and then a 4 call.
Yeah, you're not even. Yeah, exactly. You're not even at 15 yet, to where you can decide on who to put in and do other things with.
So I mean, I guess so. Then at that point, a good 15 would be Dracula, Apocalypse, and Blade.
Yeah,
that would be a solid 15,
right?
Yeah. The other one I had thought about was Mephisto. With him coming out, he has the ability to force you to attack other people around him, and having the roster that was the attack backs, the counter attacks. I can now force you to have to go into somebody who's just going to smack right back into you. And there was another option I had for like a makeshift bodyguard, a reverse bodyguard. And I mean, Apocalypse looks really good. He might, I haven't read it over his card enough, but just glancing at him.
Played against him at the last tournament. It was my first time playing against him as like, instead of the ultimate And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in. I want to see how tough this guy is. Like, let's see if we just go all in and we just mess him up. And then we'll get rid of all the horseman cards. We'll, take care of it. I put so much into that guy.
He's
so hard to kill. That whole thing of like the take the damage, but then you get one back and you get power back or whatever. That ability is gonna kill you because you'll just do like one.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I did one to you. Oh, it heals that one. Oh, because it has more power. You have power for your spender all the time. It's ridiculous.
So I do have some time. I believe Shorehammer is going to be before the finals. It's a good way to play that.
It'll be the weekend before.
Yep. So it'll be a good like final play testing to see if it's something that I do want to do or not. I'm really leaning into it. But just kind of filling in the roster, knowing exactly who's going to benefit me. That's where all the play testing is going to come in.
On top of that, too, the first one is an unaffiliated card. So you can take it in Dracula's Thralls. So the first one is Apocalypse can spend 4, choose an allied character. The allied character is KO'd, but you remove an activated token from Apocalypse. If the chosen character is injured, then Apocalypse gains a stagger condition. I think he's definitely something to consider because he is I kid you not. And like I said, I'm playing Shield, and I put like everything I had into him.
Yeah, I mean, the next one I was thinking about was Metal Tyrant.
Ultron.
Yeah, getting Ultron in there. So there's a path you can take where if you have enough people that are immune to bleed and they can give out bleed, then you can take Hood with you. And Hood can do the healing through his superpower, and you're negating the bleed. Plus, then you're healing another additional one from someone who's got bleed around you.
Do you know who else negates the bleed? Apocalypse.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many options. That's why I said I'm very excited to see how people end up making his rosters and what's going to work.
It's going to be really funny. You're going to come against someone in a tournament that made like an anti-bleed list. You'll be like, no, it's the bane of my existence.
So the Apocalypse list that is out there, like EJ was telling me that a lot of people in Apocalypse affiliation are immune to bleed. So there's that would probably be the only one that's like hard pressed to deal with would be that list.
I mean, is Colossus immune to bleed? Because he's the only horseman I can think of that you would take that's immune to bleed.
That's his only immunity.
Yeah. I'd say I don't really know about that one. But also with the first one, if Apocalypse is flipped, he's immune to stagger. So when you take that activation token off of him and he gets stagger, it doesn't matter. And then when he gets the stagger and it's in the condition that he already has, he also gains stuff from that. I'm selling it.
Yeah.
I'm selling it. Sizzle.
Well, it's something I can try today, when we go to play and see if it works.
Let him win, guys. Let him win.
What
about the other monsters? What do you think about the other monsters?
All right. So I think the winner out of the box is the Mummy. I think by far the best glow up would be him.
Mummy.
He's a 3 cost. He's a very good 3. His stats are 4/2/4. He has a reduction for damage of 1 to a minimum of 1. But I think the best thing going for him is the ability to get tokens like Hela when it comes to souls.
But easier.
And the things he can do with it, it's not a once per turn situation. So as long as throughout his turn, souls are being collected, he can use them for different things. Pulling up his card right now.
Well, he uses them for rerolls. I think it's mainly he uses rerolls and then it's used for his spender.
His tactics card. That's the reason to take him.
Yeah. But he also can heal off of them as well. So he has the ability with the souls. He can have max of 3. He can spend them when he goes to do an attack. He can spend them in the modify step to have his skulls count as wilds. He also has the ability to use them to remove 1 condition, 1 damage, or gain a power. So you have a nice combination of things that they're used for that as you're going throughout his turn, again, as long as you're able to do some kind of damage where you end up KOing somebody or dazing them, gaining a soul from that. One of his attacks that is a 2 power cost attack allows you to gain a soul as well. Potentially you could get 3 souls in one turn, potentially 4, depending on what you're doing. If you have a
If you're spending souls in the process.
yes, if you're spending souls
He's
in the
mixed.
process.
He's
Yes,
mixed,
yeah,
true.
if you're spending them as you're going throughout the turn, if you're spending them, you can take one of them to heal, like incinerate off of yourself. Take another one to heal, and then you do your attack. You daze somebody, you heal another one, or during the attack, if you need to use it to get your, you end up rolling 2 skulls, 3 skulls, and you have 3 of the tokens. Have all 3 of those skulls count as wilds now for yourself. And if it's during the attack, that's the Sever Soul attack, you're getting a soul back from it. So there's a lot of action economy with him. But overall, for being a 3 cost and having this much stuff you can do, it's almost like we're going back to the days of seeing Voodoo be just like hitting over his cost. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Mummy. We're going to see a character that's going to be able to kind of hit over what his cost is.
I don't think he's going to be anywhere near as impactful as original Voodoo was.
It'll be interesting to see. I would debate that.
He doesn't impact victory points as much as Voodoo did.
Well, he can't deny a point, a character from getting points. That's true. I would say that, but
Like, that was Voodoo's thing. He shut one of your characters down for the game.
sure. But then it also made him very vulnerable in doing so, dropping him down to a 2/4 at that point. But with Mummy, I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to see him played as more of like you're going to sit here, this is what you're doing, and if someone wants to come in to go after you or take the point away from you, you're going to be able to survive the. And I don't think he's going to be an attack piece. I don't think he's going to be someone where you're moving him around a lot. I think you're just going to plop him somewhere, and he's just a solid 3 to sit on a point and just score it for you.
Do you think he's tanky?
I think he's tanky. And again, it's going to be due to his souls. Again, the reduction. And again, it depends on what affiliation you're throwing him in. I mean, I'm looking at him with Dracula, so already he's going to have a little bit more healing than not. But I think the souls is really where it's going to be at, where if you can get, based on whoever else you're taking and what they're doing throughout the game, being able to get souls on him each round will allow him to be able to use them for healing purposes.
I don't see the tankiness. I see him as a noob. I see him as
That's how I see
yeah, you're going to build him up, you're going to get those tokens, and you're going to service of Anubis. And then after service of Anubis, he's going to eat a big bag of shit. Because the service of Anubis is basically an area effect Helios laser in a way, but you can only spend off of Mummy. But the nice part is it's going to eat up all your captured soul tokens. But before that, you can spend that as you're doing your service of Anubis attack, which is really good.
And you'll be gaining them with the attack as well.
Yeah.
So as long as you're dazing your fame.
I think he's a noob.
Yeah.
I think he'd work really well in like the defenders, and you portal him. Like you build up your tokens, and you're like, oh, I'm going to spend 1. I'm going to portal right into your line.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I do think though, for who I feel ended up with the best kind of outcome for the box, I think Mummy is a very nice surprise. And I think just for being a 3 cost, he can do a lot. And we'll see. I mean, again, it's all very new. Right. See who's taking him and what the tactics are going to be with him. I just feel like he's more of a sit and hold piece versus going up there and being super aggressive.
I do also think it's easier to feel a 3 cost is overpowered than a 4 or 5, or I feel like the more points it's costing, the harder it is to be overpowered because you're just expecting to do more. As a 3 cost, you're like, oh, wow, for 3 points, I get X, Y, and Z. That's really amazing.
The other big thing that I saw with him is his immunities. He's got 3 immunities to him. Bleed, Hex, and Poison. So having a 3 cost with that many immunities also is really nice to see. You don't get that a lot. So I don't know. I think he does punch up for being a 3 cost. We'll just have to see what he does.
Right. Let's test him out, see what he does on the board. I'm in the same boat with like Werewolf by Night. I think he might be decent. I debate switching out T'Challa and my shield and putting in Werewolf by Night and using the Tactics card to get an extra defense die roll. So I'd be re-rolling 4 defense dice anytime I got attacked in my bubble. But does that outweigh T'Challa's 4 re-rolls on 8 dice on a builder? That's still
Now, let me ask. I know one thing people were debating about is he worth being a 5 cost? Do you think he is worth being a 5, or do you think he should have been a 4?
I don't know. I really have to play him. I think the Howl sounds really good. The Howl sounds like a great ability. Is it going to be great? I don't know. The Midnight Massacre ability and the Pounce, I think the Pounce costs too much. I think that's annoying. I get it because he's a bigger size, so they made it 1 more power than normal. The Midnight Massacre thing is pretty good, but at the same time, I think he's going to struggle with power. Is going to be his problem. I don't think he's going to have a lot of power to spend all these things on. He has all these words, but you can't use all those words unless you have the power for it, and I don't think you're going to have it. So I don't really know. I was thinking of him more as like, throw him out there first, have New Moon on him. New Moon plus Zemo plus Namor plus Invaders is going to give me 4 rerolls. And then everything else on his kit is essentially just extra.
Yeah. And I mean, and being 4 physical, 4 energy defense, that's your most common ones.
Right.
And so, yeah, for having a character that costs 5, having a 2 defense is rough. It's on something that most of the time you're not going to
read. Yeah, I'm not too worried about if my 2 is going to be on Mystic, I feel like I'm okay with having a 2 in Mystic versus anywhere else.
Yeah. But I mean, and then he's got the healing factor too, which is nice. The clapback is good. Now the one thing, and I think the other thing people really debated about was his basic attack. When you get the wild trigger with the leap, you have to do it. You can't choose. And I think that's one thing that people argued about was we should not be at a point where that's a situation where you're having to move your character. It should be an option.
I think it's thematic to what the character is supposed to be doing. It's the reason why the leap is necessary. Same thing with like Beast has the same problem where he's doing an acrobatic strike, which means he's basically doing flippies into you to give you a smack. And in order to do that, to do the flippies and the smacks, he has to end up next to you. Angel's the same way. Angel has to fly past you in order to attack you. So like all those abilities like make sense as to why you're forced to be placed. It sucks sometimes that you're forced to be placed because sometimes you don't want to, but it makes sense because otherwise it would be weird.
Yeah. And I can see it being a situation where key moments in tournaments, someone taking him, they just forget about it or they mess up and, oh, I wasn't expecting to get that wild trigger and now I'm in a place I don't want to be.
I mean, it's the same thing with Rhino, though. I mean, Rhino is a forced place, and
yeah, being on a large base helps though with that. Sometimes, you might get out of place where you want to be, but it's not that hard to get back with him.
But Rhinos is also a guarantee, and you know what's going to happen. Versus with Werewolf by Night,
it's a wild.
So either you could go up there. So let's say you want to go up there, you might not get the wild. And what if you don't want to go up there and then you get the wild? So like you basically have to be in a situation where you want to be in both spots, where you're like, both spots work out for me to be there. Or if you're going to go, like if you leap forward and you're forced to leap forward, you have to have an option of like how to get out or to get back to where you want to be.
Yeah, that's another thing with like Blade's Pursuit trigger. Like it's one of those things where it's like you want to be able to count on it because it's just a hit. But in the same breath, it's like, man, like when it doesn't work out the way you think it is, it throws your entire plan off. And then
his is a hit?
For Pursuit is a hit. Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Only Commandos is a wild.
Yeah, so to kind of not trying to jump back, but like Dracula, same thing. His basic attack, his condition giving is off of a hit versus being off of a wild. So I'm starting to see that a little bit more with characters, and they're branching out from it just being get a wild and you get the effect. Now they're kind of going into different dice for it.
I also think it's a matter of like they want it to happen a little more often. I'm sure they have a calculation where they're like, okay, well, I want this to happen X amount of times. So is it a wild? Is it that percentage? Is it a hit? Is it that percentage? And, it boils down to how often do they want it to trigger.
So, John, what do you think about Werewolf's Tactics card?
I don't know. I think about trying it in, like I said, instead of T'Challa, I might take him, try it out, see how it works. Making Midnight Massacre cost 1 more is rough. Also the problem being that now you don't contest, you can't grab, you've turned yourself into a honey badger And I don't know if you want to do that with your 5. Do you want your 5 not scoring any points at all? And I feel like if you're going to use the card, you want to use it early. So
The tactics card allows for your Midnight Massacre can cost 1 more, but you get the defensive. You can still hold objectives on that phase. That's the new moon.
the new moon is the Midnight Massacre goes up. Your defense gets an extra reroll.
For each condition that the character has that's attacking you.
Okay.
So you reroll 1 dice, and it
would be the
defends.
one I would pick.
So then full moon is the just you're going all out. You're just hoping to attack, and it's the same thing. So you're getting 1 reroll in the attacks for each special condition that's on the character that you're attacking. However, with the full moon, the attacking version, you cannot hold extract tokens, but you can still interact with secures.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have to play it. See, it sounds good, but it also sounds bad at the same time.
It's one of those ones too, since it's at the start of the activation phase. If you want to go full out, like you wait for the moment you know the rest of your characters can handle those secures, handle those as extracts or whatever, and then you just send him out there to just wreck face.
Especially if you're playing him with Apocalypse. Apocalypse handed out all those conditions.
Is he good at that?
He is good.
That's a 16 cost game.
There you go.
That'd be pummels. So and pummels wouldn't be so bad because then I'm healing, and even if I don't have people,
Yeah, it's true.
so many choices.
And it is nice because it lets you, there's a lot of times where you like set up on the board and you're looking across from you and you're like, okay, that's an attrition team. I'm going to be the points guy of this game. Or you set up and you're like, oh, that's, webs. I'm definitely going to have to try to kill them because I'm not going to outscore them. And I think this card gives you a little bit of leniency on which way you want to go.
I feel like I'm going New Moon 75% of the time.
Yeah.
Because you want to play it early in order for New Moon to be worthwhile at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of want to play Full Moon late almost, so that way you're kind of still scoring points until that moment where you're like, all right, now it's time to go crazy. So the question is, do you sit on the card and wait for your Full Moon turn to like build up and be like, all right, I'm ahead in points, or I'm not going to score enough points. I just need a murder. But is that worth 1 tactics card?
Well, and again, it depends on affiliation. So in your shield, that's hard because you have so many things you're trying to do with shield, and you're reserving those tactics cards for those plays. Do you even take his card?
Yeah,
in shield?
that's the problem.
Now for like a Midnight Sun, sure, there's not many Midnight Sun tactics cards already accounted for. So it's going to be more character-specific cards for Midnight Suns, character-specific cards for Dracula. Those kind of things will work.
That's going to change probably in like 3 months.
I can't wait. I really want to see it.
Tulsa are going to, I guarantee, come a bunch of cards.
They're going to be cool.
And they're going to be criminals.
So I don't know enough about Man Thing. Would he be one that would end up giving out Judgment?
That's a good call because I could see that happening because, yeah.
I just don't know enough about the character to kind of know how he is in the comics.
But then my argument would be is if Man Thing's handing out Judgment, then Ghost Rider should be handing out Judgment for the same reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for them as well. I think they're going to be nice. And I think having another leader, hopefully, with
It's not hopefully, it's guaranteed.
oh, they guaranteed it? Good. Now, it'd be nice if she was a 3 cost, but I have a feeling she'll end up being a 4 cost.
I would have said before.
Yeah. I think it would just be a swap.
I could see her being a 3, but I couldn't see her being like more.
No, probably not more. I would hope for less.
Right.
I'm not expecting more.
And I expect Man Thing to probably be like a 5.
We got Last of the Monsters. We have Frankenstein.
I don't care. That's a dumb shit model. What is up with that fucking vest?
I mean, model wise, he's not the best looking model.
He looks like ass.
I think depending on whose roster he goes into, he can have a place. And like we were discussing prior to the cast, I think having him as a 4 cost, a Luke Cage, would kind of be equivalent. He has a way of healing himself a little bit, so he can kind of stay in the fight. His 1 attack goes off of if he's got like whatever amount of damage he has, he's adding to the attack when he goes to hit. He's got options, and then he's also got a tactics card that is very similar to Heroes for Hire. So it's another way to bodyguard for someone. And with being Midnight Suns and you have Iron Fist, you could potentially have 2 tactics cards that deal with bodyguarding. with potential throwaways.
Nope. He's not seeing the table. He's fucking stupid. His attacks are called, so he's Frankenstein's monster.
Mhm.
His name is Adam, but his attacks are called like Frank's fists. But that doesn't make any sense. His name's Adam. Frankenstein's the doctor. That's so stupid.
So you want it named Adam's Assault.
Sure,
Good character now.
just call it Monster Fists. I don't care. It just doesn't make any sense. Who put that vest on him? What was Frankenstein doing?
He was cutting down trees beforehand.
That's so stupid.
But,
He's also a lot smaller as a model than I thought he would be, and the mummy's a lot larger than I thought he would be, model-wise.
I'd agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm just glad that Midnight Suns has more options, and with more coming down the road, it's just nice to see that Midnight Suns is going to have more options. I mean, we'll just see. I mean, I don't see him being played outside of Midnight Suns, but
I know what's going to suck is he's going to be a secret sleeper, and then everybody's going to play him everywhere, and I'm going to just get stupid models.
it's going to be the reverse of Sandman.
I mean, he does have a size 4 throw, and he can heal 2 every turn.
And he has a charge.
He's in the same pose as original Hulk.
Yeah, he's a mini Hulk.
We didn't even change anything. The only thing I like on his card and everything, the only thing I like is that he's immune to shock. That's the only thing I like.
I mean,
I totally get.
Are we not surprised though that certain things were recycled, like poses or like pieces of clothing?
Yeah,
It's like that. 'Cause, I mean, it happens.
Original Hulk's not even in a good pose to begin with. Why would we recycle like a poopy pose?
It's just what they do.
Then you had Immortal Hulk, who's in this like awesome, I'm gonna fuck your day up pose, and here comes Adam.
Who else was it that they just put out that was in the same exact pose as another model?
One of them's in the same, almost the same pose as Hulkbuster.
That's what it was. Who was it, though?
Nation?
Abomination.
Yeah, where they're
Yeah.
almost in that football pose. That's what it reminds me of.
I mean, and I understand. Like, at some point, there are, I'm sure, pieces that they just have way too much of it, and they're going to repackage it and make it work with a different model. Like, because there are times when I'm assembling some of these characters, I go, oh, this piece looks exactly like a different character's arm or a shoulder pad off of another character.
Not at all how CAD modeling works, though.
And
Or-
they're just
or
being
CAD.
lazy about it.
Yeah.
Then they're just being lazy about it.
So I mean, like, honestly, like, you're a two-limbed, two-legged creature. How many thousands of poses can you possibly be in?
Yeah,
Throwing an attack. Your
Right.
only moves in so many directions. Like, there's gonna be after what, nearly 200 characters now.
Close to
I
it.
just think the super generic walking forward, like I don't even know what he's supposed to be doing.
I mean, Michael Myers has how many movies where all he does is walk?
Yeah, but he looks good. I'd be fine with it. He put
Hey.
Frankenstein in Michael Myers' pose.
He also
like Frankie's in. But he's just like fists and open hand, and I don't even understand what his pose is that he's supposed to be doing at that moment.
He's getting ready to grab you.
He's giving you Frank's fists.
Fuck that. Just stick both arms out like old school Frankenstein style, and that would be better than the crap we just got.
Now, one thing I am disappointed about the box, okay, it's going to be that they did not add a card that's called Monster Mash. Something that you do all the characters together with.
Character, if you played with all four, you got
Yeah.
some kind of bonus. That's pretty cool. That would have been a neat idea.
So,
If you got the promos, though, you did get a trick or treat special scenario card.
ooh.
I would know about that.
Well, hopefully there's someone out there that could potentially provide.
We are working on it.
No, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the box. I think it's going to be good. I can't wait to play them. Maybe minus Frankenstein's monster, but the rest of them, I'm pretty excited for them.
Don't give in to peer pressure. Play Frankenstein.
Don't play.
I mean, the only way he's going to get played is if I am doing Midnight Suns. So, because I don't see him going with Dracula for what I want to do. Speaking of that, I guess I'll be trying out Apocalypse here then.
I've done it.
And we'll try.
I have
we'll see how.
into the way of apocalypse.
So, all right. Well, is there anything else topic wise we wanted to?
That's it for today.
Okay.
All right. That was the second episode of Target Acquired Podcast. Again, if you're in the Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania area, we're having our last chance qualifier on November 16th. 17 people signed up, so still some spots for that. Look forward to talking to you on the next one.
His kid taught him nothing.
No. You can also reach out to us at our Discord.
Links in the bio.
Yeah, links in the bio with it.
That's the only reason I didn't say it myself, because I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the information.
I just link the accounts.
Just blame Gary. We're good.
All right, we will see you.